What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love After Lockup Season 4, Episode 33, Sex, Lies, and Prison Wives. So we're going to start off with Monique and Derek. Monique is still waiting outside of the prison grounds, waiting for Derek to come out. Her and her sister are waiting there. And as they're waiting, there is this white SUV that keeps on driving back and forth. So Monique initially thinks that it might be another female arriving for Derek's release, but it's not. It's actually Derek's family. It is his siblings. He's his two sisters, a brother, and a couple of nephews, I think, and a cousin or something. So they come out of the car, and Calandra, Monique's sister, she is going to go confront them because it was Monique's understanding that Derek's family would not be at his release. And so Monique is like, what are they doing here? They're not supposed to be here. So Calandra walks over to the siblings, to Derek's siblings, and she's basically trying to figure out, what are they doing there? And the siblings are like, well, we're here for our brother's release. We're going to come to his release. We're his family. We're his brother and sisters. What are you talking about? And then Monique comes. So she walks over and she tries to figure out what's going on as well. The siblings said that Derek did tell them not to come, but they were going to show up anyway. And they said that the only reason why Derek told them not to come to his release was because Monique did not want them at the release. They said that you gave Derek an ultimatum of whether or not we could be here. So that's why he told us not to come. It wasn't because he didn't want us here. It's because he was just trying to do what you wanted him to do. So Monique denies it. She goes, no, she didn't give him any kind of ultimatum. She's trying to make it seem like Derek himself did not want his own siblings at his release. To my understanding, it seems like maybe the parents are not a part of their lives, or the parents have passed away, but all they really have, it seems like, is each other. So in my mind, I'm thinking, why wouldn't Derek want his siblings there? It just didn't make any sense that he would choose to not have his siblings there if they were willing to come there. Monique also tells us that the siblings were not really there for Derek while he was in prison. They were not giving him money. They were not coming to visit him. And she brings this up to them. She says, y'all weren't even there for him when he was in prison. And one of the sisters says, well, we're here for him now. So that was very contentious. And so the siblings get back in the car, and one of them posts, as they're getting back in the car, they're saying some really nasty things about Monique, saying that, she's not Derek's type. One of the sisters says, I could have brought one of my homegirls to meet Derek, somebody who's, nice and slim and's got body and hair and lashes and nails and this and that, instead of Monique. So they're talking about her looks, and they're talking about her size. And one of them also posts something very derogatory about her online. And I don't know how Calandra got this post right away like that, because as soon as the sister posted it online, it was like boom on Calandra's phone. And Calandra looks at it, and Calandra was like, oh my God, look what they posted about you. And it was something really mean. It was something to the effect of, after being, I don't know how, it was something to the effect of, after being away for so long, you come out of prison and this is what's waiting for you. And of course, I'm cleaning it up. They said some really nasty things, and it's just immature, low vibration, very base mentality that these siblings had. So, after that, out of nowhere, Derek shows up, because we were so engrossed in what was going on with the siblings, and then posting this really mean post about Monique and Monique's reaction. I didn't even realize, Derek came sneaking out. So Derek shows up out of nowhere. And when he shows up, he appears to be extremely happy to see Monique. He gives her a big old hug. He gives her a kiss. He compliments her, talking about how he's so happy to see her, how beautiful she is, how good she smells. He greets her sister. And then the siblings come out, and he greets his siblings, and he gives a formal introduction of Monique to his siblings. Now, I haven't seen this in a long time, like a real formal introduction. He says to them, he calls them all out by name, and he's like, so and so, so and so, and so and so. This is my woman. This is my babe, Monique. Monique. This is my sister, so and so. My sister, so and so. My brother, so and so. My cousin, so and so. So he formally introduces everybody, and he stands by Monique, and he tells his siblings that this is Monique. She's been holding me down. This is my woman. I love her. We're together. This is what it is. Now, he doesn't try to deny it. He doesn't try to minimize it. He doesn't try to shy away from it. He stands 10 toes down on, this is my woman. This is who she is. She is in my life. I am in her life. We are together. Take it or leave it. So the sisters are like, okay, yeah, okay, that's fine, whatever. And Derek says that Monique being a big black woman, a BBW, doesn't matter to him at all. He is totally cool with that. So after that, they all go, Monique, Calandra, all of his siblings, they all go to the barbershop because he wants to get his locks cleaned up. So they go to the barbershop, and while he is in the back getting his hair washed, this is an opportunity for the siblings and Monique to have a conversation. And the conversation centered around whether or not Derek actually did not want his siblings to be at his release. And so the siblings were like, there's just no way that Derek would not have wanted to see us, because, how is it going to look that the only person waiting for him is his girlfriend, and he has a family, and we're not there when he's released from prison after X amount of years. So there's just no way that we're going to believe Derek did not want us there. And the bottom line is, because Monique said that she had a lot of anxiety about meeting his family, and so she had wanted it to be just her and Derek. So the bottom line is, it was her that told Derek that she didn't want his family there. And he did listen to her. So it was all her. So when Derek comes out, because he comes out thinking that they were arguing because their voices were getting loud. So he comes out thinking that they were arguing, and they're like, no, we're not arguing. We're just having a conversation about whether or not you actually wanted us there or not at your release. And he says, of course I wanted y'all there, but my woman wasn't comfortable with it. And so I did with what my woman wanted. I wanted to make her feel comfortable. So when she told me that she really didn't want anybody else there and she just wanted it to be me and her, that's what I did. I made it happen for her. So it was Monique all along who did not want the siblings there. So after that, he says to his family, okay, well, me and my woman, we're heading out. We're going back to the room because, I need to be with my woman alone. So I'm going to check y'all later. So Derek, Monique, and Calandra, they go back to the hotel. And I guess Calandra is about to leave because she's talking about how she feels really bad about leaving Monique behind because she has to get back home. And, she's worried about her sister being outnumbered by Derek and his family. And so she has a lot of concern about Monique. And so she pulls her sister to the side, and she tells Monique, I'm about to leave. And I'm really worried about you. And I want you to be safe, and I want you to be careful. And if anything should happen, give me a call. And Monique ain't got time for none of that. Monique is like, okay, fine, whatever. I got to go be with my man. So Calandra goes her way, and Monique goes back to Derek. So they get up to the room. And of course, one thing leads to another. And let me see. How am I going to talk about this? So now Monique and Derek, they're alone. Okay. Monique is worried about, being unclothed in front of Derek. She's really worried about that. But Derek is willing to take on this challenge. She makes a remark that he's not as tiny as she thought he would be as far as his body stature. And because she says that when she would get clothes for him, when she would order clothes for him or buy clothes for him, he always asked her to get him a size small, because, make sure it's a small size, make sure it's a size small. And so she envisioned him being really little because he always wanted a size small, never a medium. And she says, he really isn't as small as I thought he was going to be. Girl, yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Derek is tiny. He's a very small little man. He's adorable. He's cute as a button, but honey, he's tiny. like a little GI Joe or something. I can put him in my pocket. He is extremely tiny. I wonder if she feels like playing dress up. When she bought him all those name brand clothes, I wonder if she feels like, I'm going to be playing dress up with my little live doll, my little live man doll. He's very small. And there is a drastic difference in size between the two of them. And he says in his confessional that the fact that she is a BBW, it boosts his ego. He says it makes him feel very confident. It makes him feel very ambitious, like he can conquer anything. He says, her size does not intimidate me. I know I can handle all of her. I'm willing to take up the challenge. This is what I want. I want to be with her. She is mine. She is all mine. And I can handle all of that. And this is all for me. And so to him, it's like, the Lord had blessed him with a lot of women, and he's happy. And so he was extremely happy. I mean, he had his hands all over her. He cannot wait for the camera crew to leave. He was ready to go. He was revved up and he was ready to go and get him some Monique. So, of course, I'm pretty sure next week we're going to hear about how wonderful it was, how it was, absolutely fire, absolutely dynamite, because it always is, right? With these prisoners, when they get out of prison, it's always perfect. It exceeds everybody's expectations. Nobody's a 1 minute man. Everybody's lasting long, and it's always wonderful. Moving on to Gabby and Chris. Okay. Gabby and Chris. So they're waiting. Oh, they're walking back to the car. And as they're walking back to the car, because they just got married on the sidewalk, and as they're walking back to the car where Chris's mom and sister are waiting, Chris is holding something in his hand, and I thought it was a bath loofah. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a big old bath loofah, because it was hanging on a string, and it was like a big old white ball, and he was just swinging it around. I was like, where did he get that bath loofah from? Where is he going to use that? But it wasn't a bath loofah. It was actually her bouquet that she held, I guess, or bought for the wedding. I have no idea, but it was flowers. So they get back in the car, and Chris has the audacity to tell his mom and sister, we got married. Y'all knew that, right? Chris, how are they supposed to know that? You and Gabby didn't tell him a damn thing of what y'all were doing on the sidewalk. So how are they supposed to know that? So the mom and sister, they're not interested because they don't like Gabby and they don't want Chris with Gabby. So they're like, oh, okay, whatever. Congratulations, I guess. Now let's talk about the mom's glasses, her eyeglasses. So the mom and the sister are sitting in the back. And the mom puts on her glasses, and I noticed that her glasses were missing a leg. I don't know an arm. I don't know what you call this part of the glasses right here. She only had one on one side and the other one didn't have any. And I'm thinking to myself, if Chris had won, I think it was like $150,000 or something in the settlement, and he gave a chunk of that to his mother, why is a mother wearing glasses that are busted like that? I didn't understand. So Chris is going to be paroled in New Jersey. And I think that's where Gabby lives. I'm not sure. So they drop off the mom and the sister. And then Gabby and Chris are on their way to Jersey, I think, for him to be... Oh, his halfway house is in Jersey. I don't know where Gabby lives. I don't know if she lives in New York. I don't know where she lives, but she's going to drop him off at the halfway house. So they're on their way to the halfway house. And as they're driving there, she tells Chris that she got tightened and whitened. And I'm not sure if she's telling him this to like turn him on or what the hell was going on, why she told him this, but she told him that. And he wasn't thrilled. He wasn't excited about that. He wasn't happy about that. He was like, what the hell is that? And so she starts explaining. He's like, okay, I get it. I understand what you mean. Like, he didn't want her to go no further. And he wasn't happy about that because he says in his confessional, I gave her X amount of money out of my settlement. And here she is talking about all of this, cosmetic procedures that she had done. So he really wasn't happy that that's what he spent. That's what she spent the money on. It seems like that's the impression that I got. He was like, I guess upset that she was wasting this money on cosmetic surgery and not really doing anything constructive with it. So then he tells her, you know what, Gabby, you're moving really suspicious. And she was like, what do you mean? And he says, you're really sus. And now I don't know if he was saying that because of how he thinks she mishandled the money that he gave her from his settlement, or if he's saying that because she got tightened and whitened, and he's like, well, if you haven't been with nobody in years and I haven't been with nobody in years, why did you feel the need to do that? Unless you're entertaining, male, male company, why would you have to go tightened and whitened. I don't know why he said that she was sus, but he said that she was real suspicious and he didn't like how she was moving. And so then she gets extremely defensive and she says, I've been holding you down all these years. When you were away, I've been putting money on your books. I've been doing this and that for you. I've been faithful to you, loyal to you. I could have been with anybody, but I still chose, to be with you and to wait for you to come out. And there's been no other man in my life. And so he's like, okay, I believe you. I believe you. Okay, we're together. We're good. We're fine. So she hasn't been with a man in 5 years. He hasn't been with a woman in 7 years. And so the urge takes over them and they decide to pull over and they take care of business, of course, in another nasty public bathroom. 12 minutes later, they're back in the car and they're on their way to the halfway house. One of the sisters, they're on their way to the halfway house. Later on, we see Gabby and her mom. She's at her mom's job. I think her mom works in a store or something. So she goes to see her mother and she talks about Chris. Chris is out now and whatever. And her mom really don't care because her mom does not like Chris and he doesn't want Gabby with Chris because Chris was talking to other females while he was in prison. And Gabby tells her mom, well, that really doesn't count because they were just talking. He didn't do anything with these other women. They were just talking. And the mom kind of sees it out, but that just shows his nature. That shows the kind of man that he is. Y'all are supposed to be committed to one another. You were committed to him as far as we know because Gabby keeps talking about how she's got secrets that we don't know about yet. But the mom is probably thinking to herself, y'all were supposed to be committed to one another and he's, entertaining other females from prison. So that just shows the kind of character that he has when he's supposed to be in a relationship with you. So the mom was like, it don't matter if he was actually with them physically. He was just giving his time and attention to other women. And so the mom doesn't like it at all. And so then Gabby tells her mom, oh, mom, I forgot to tell you something. And the mom says, what? And Gabby says, we got married. Yeah, you forgot to tell your mom that you had this life-changing event. You got married in front of the Greyhound bus station on the sidewalk. You completely forgot to mention that to her with your loofah. So the mom is like, Gabby, please tell me you didn't. And she was like, yeah, we got married. And the mom is like, get it annulled. And Gabby, she ain't going to do that. And so then she tells her mom, the mom says to her, well, don't bring them around me. I'm not going to accept this marriage. Keep them the hell away from me. I want nothing to do with that man. And then she pulls out this envelope and she tells her mom, I got something to show you. And we don't know what it is. We have to wait until next week to find out what the hell it was that was in that envelope. And I can't wait to find out Gabby's secrets. Gabby and Chris, y'all, to me, Chris looked like he was very distracted. He didn't seem that into her, them being apart for all these years. And it just didn't seem like there was any kind of enthusiasm between them or any kind. I just don't see it for Gabby and Chris. I don't see any love, any affection. I don't see nothing between them because the whole time that they were in the car together while she was driving them to the halfway house, he was on the phone, he was looking out the window. He just seemed really distracted. I don't know if he's not interested in her. I don't know if he's thinking about his next high, his next fix. I don't know what's going on, but I just don't really see a connection between them. I have no idea why she's so enamored by Chris. Her mother said that this is not going to last because Chris is not her type. And that really shocked me because I thought this was her type, criminals, guys in prison. But the mom says that Gabby will normally date professional men, that she would normally date ballers and rappers, I guess, people in the industry, that this just wasn't her type. And I'm just like, okay, whatever you say, Mom. I'd have to see it to believe it. Moving on to Justine and Michael. So obviously, this is the morning after their first night. And of course, they talk about how their first night was absolutely wonderful. It was perfect. There was fireworks everywhere. Everybody was happy. Then they talk about family. And Michael says that his dad only came to see him in prison 3 times in 6 years. And Justine was like, wow, that's kind of foul, but your dad really does love you. And Michael says, prison is the cemetery of the living. Man, when he said that, I was like, damn, Wow. I thought that was kind of deep. Maybe I'm being a cornball, but I thought that was kind of deep. When he said prison is the cemetery of the living, he says when you go to prison, people try to forget about you. They try to act like you died, and they don't want to worry about you or think about you or waste any time or energy coming to see you. They just kind of pretend like you died temporarily, and eventually, you'll come back around. So they get into their first little argument as they're pulling out of the hotel parking lot. He gets a call from his friend Mocha, and he wants to meet up with his friend Mocha, and he tells her that. And she was like, why you got to be with your boys on your first full day out? This is supposed to be time with your family. And he was like, well, I can do both. I can be with my family and I can be with Mocha. And then he tells her, I got to be with Mocha. I got to see him because he's got connections in the music industry and he can give me the hookup that can end up changing our lives. So I can't pass up this opportunity. And so she says, I get all of that, but it doesn't have to be right now. Right now is for your family. You can meet up with him another day. And he keeps on telling her, no, I need to see him because this time I'm going to be making my money. He's going to help me get the hookup. We can't pay bills off of hugs and kisses. I need to see this dude. So that was our little argument. And they go pick up Justine's kids. And so he finally gets to meet Justine's daughter, and Justine's daughter seemed really happy to see him. And because I guess Justine's daughter can tell how happy Justine is with Michael. So Justine's daughter was okay with Michael. And as they're driving to go see his family, Mocha, his homeboy, hits him up again, and Justine gets upset again. So they start talking about that. Michael says that he's extremely nervous about seeing his family, because he says it's going to be a lot of people there, and it's probably going to be a little bit overwhelming for him. So when he gets there, everybody's there. His mom, his dad, his children, his cousins, his brother, his sister, everybody's there. So they all run up to him. They give him all, big old hugs, kisses, all of that. It got really emotional. The mother was crying. The sister was crying. His father was crying as well. The little kids were so happy to see him. The two little ones, the little boy, said that he says, Dad, I missed you. It was a really beautiful reunion. I was even kind of getting, emotional watching it. Especially when he hugged his mom and his dad and how they were crying about seeing him again. And it was just a really beautiful homecoming. And so they're all sitting around talking and everything. And guess who shows up? Mocha. His homeboy Mocha shows up. So he gave him the Addy and told him where to meet him up, regardless of what Justine said. So when Justine saw Mocha, she was extremely upset. You could tell the look on her face that she was not happy at all that Mocha was there. Justine and Michael, to me, it may not be the perfect couple. It may not last very long, but at least you can tell that they're happy to be with one another. And you can see the love and affection between them, unlike Chris and Gabby. I totally believe the relationship of Justine and Michael. I believe it. It's real to me how they really like each other. There's a real attraction there. There's real affection there. I'm really hesitant to say love, but some might call it love, but there's something there between them. Okay. They want to be with one another, and she married him. She wanted to marry him, and she married the man. He was still in prison. But then again, he has a way of making income wherever he's out, whatever he's doing, he's still making income. So I guess, him being in prison wasn't going to stop the money from flowing. So she had no problem marrying him, but I just don't see any connection at all between Chris and Gabby. I just don't see it. I don't know why she's so enamored by this guy. I don't know what it is, but I don't see it. But I do see something real between Christine and Michael. Moving on to Ashley and Travis. So she just picked him up from prison. They're in the car and they're driving to the hotel. As they're driving there, they're passing by, beautiful scenery. I don't know what state they're in, but they're passing by beautiful scenery, lush green trees, blue sky. And he even mentions that the colors are just like a little bit overwhelming for him. He was like, I'm just amazed on how bright and colorful the world is. And he's just taken aback by the luscious colors of everything, because he says in prison, all you see and all you look at for years upon years is gray and blue. So he was just taken in just the beauty of the outside world. So he asks about who's watching her dog back in Florida, and she says her neighbor is. And so Ashley wants us to believe that these two men are like jealous over her. Okay. She wants us to believe that her neighbor's got a thing for her. Travis has a thing for her. And these two men are like fighting for her because they both want to be with her or whatever the hell. So she tells Travis, the neighbor's watching the dog, but don't worry. I'm going to change the locks. I'm going to change the locks when we get back home because, the neighbor has access to her keys now. So she goes, I'm going to change the locks when we get back to Florida. Girl, ain't nobody, girl, whatever. Okay. So it has been 14 years. He says it's been 14 years since he's been with a woman. I noticed he didn't say it's been 14 years since he's, been intimate with someone. He just says it's been 14 years since he's been with a woman. And she hasn't been with a man in 4 years. And so, they're just chomping at the bit to get at each other. So the first night together, obviously, was awesome. Okay. It was beautiful. It was whatever, the whole thing. Let's have a parade for them. So after that, they get ready, they pack up, on their way out, get on the plane. They land in Florida, and he's going to be paroled at Ashley's address. So they get to Florida. She shows him the house. He loves the house. The house is just a regular house. Maybe it was better than what he expected, but just a regular house. He's amazed by her house. He's amazed by her pool. He loves her pool. He jumped in the pool right away. And so he tells us in his confessional that in prison, he did propose to Ashley, but his wallet and mind are just not there yet. He says he proposed verbally. So he proposed to her without a ring. But right now he doesn't have the funds or I guess the mental state to propose to her properly, officially, with the ring and everything. He says he just needs to get acclimated to the outside world, get himself together, because he sees how together Ashley is. She's got her own house, she has a career, she's making money. And so he wants to be at that level before he can propose to her. And I'm just like, you just don't want to marry her. Stop with the mumbo jumbo. You just don't want to get married. You don't want to get married right now. That's okay. Why do people think they can't say, I don't want to be married right now? What is wrong with saying that? Instead of stringing her along, playing with her mind, playing with her emotions, playing games, and then you'll have this horrible falling out and you're accused of being a user and a liar. And just say, I don't want to get married right now. I still want to kick it with you. I want to spend time with you. I just don't want to get married right now. I proposed to you in prison because I was in a desperate state of mind. Now that I'm out and about, we have to get to know each other all over again, because prison Travis and prison bae Ashley, those are two completely different people from free Travis and regular Ashley. So they're going to have to get to know each other all over again, because I know that a prison relationship does not mirror an outside relationship when both people are free. So it's okay if you've had a change of heart. You're out now and you're realizing, okay, maybe I thought I was ready to get married, but I don't think I'm ready to get married anymore. So let's just kind of take it slow. Be honest about it. But he says he's not in that state of mind. And I don't know if she knows that or not. I don't know what she's expecting from Travis, because she did tell her friends that she sees him as a husband and wife duo in the antique fine jewelry business. So I don't know. Just please tell her the truth. Let's stop with the games. Just tell her men can face all kinds of dangers, and they can face death. They're out there committing crimes, putting their lives at risk. They're snorting, smoking, injecting all kinds of drugs into their system, living these really precarious lives. They end up going to prison, where you're around other prisoners who are tougher and meaner and scarier than you. They can face all of that. But when it comes to telling a woman, I'm not ready to commit, they can't do it. They run for the hills, and they'd rather lie and break hearts than just tell the truth. Anyways, moving on. Nathan and Skyler. Skyler is about to be released. Okay, Nathan and Skyler, I'm not interested in them at all. This is my least favorite couple. So I'm just going to try to get through it as fast as I can, because I really don't care. So the whole thing, I'm even going to read my notes. Nathan and Skyler's about to be released. So the thing is, everybody around them, his aunts, because his parents, his mom is deceased and his dad is not in his life. His two aunts and her mom and brother don't see it for Nathan and Skyler, because they're both addicts. And so everybody's worried about them being together in a relationship because they're both addicts. And each one's family, like his aunts are worried that Skyler's going to pull him back into addiction. And her mom and brother are worried that Nathan is going to make her addiction even worse. They think that they're hoping that Skyler's going to come out of prison and that she's going to be on the road to recovery. But they think that with her being with Nathan, even though Nathan is in recovery, they think that they're going to trigger one another and Skyler is never going to get to recovery and Nathan will relapse. So that's what everybody's concern is. Are they going to go back to using as a couple? Because, you know, do they have what it takes? Do they have the tools to stay on the straight and narrow when you put two addicts together? While they're waiting for Skyler to come out of the prison, it's Nathan, her mom, and her brother. Her mom looks extremely young. Her mom is really pretty and she looks extremely young. But anyways, so they're waiting for her to come out and he tells her mother that, you know, I'll straighten up, you know, I'm doing better. I got a job. I got it going on. I'm responsible now and taking care of business. So do I have your blessings? And I guess he's implying, do I have your blessings to marry Skyler? So both the mother and the brother said, we need to see that there is a strong foundation and that this is really about something before we give our blessings. So we actually have to see her getting better and we have to see how the two of y'all are together before we can give our blessings. And so they're not ready to do that yet. And basically that's it. Okay, that's enough of Nathan and Skyler. And that's the end of my review. Monique, Derek is tiny. He's a very little man. She was rubbing on his stomach, right? Her whole hand was like the size of his entire stomach, his entire midriff. That's a very little man, but it is what it is. We'll find out, you know, how it was next week. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please do not forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.